yeah.
Can you remind me? Sorry, I'm not sure
It's absolutely unbearable, but we so appreciate Frio turning up for Palestine. It's the first Palestine rally that we've had in Frio since January 2009, so thank you all so much for coming this afternoon. Now, we've been very lucky the last few months to have the amazing Desmond do our welcome to country at most of our rallies, but unfortunately Desmond couldn't make it this afternoon. So we just wanted to acknowledge that we're meeting today on stolen land here in Walyalla, on Wajak Noongar Budja, that this land was stolen, it was never ceded, and that from the river to the sea, this always was and always will be Aboriginal land. My name is Sophie McNeil. I'm a volunteer with Friends of Palestine WA. And I'm just going to introduce Nick, who's the chairperson of FOPWA. We so appreciate you coming along for what is now 17 weeks of rallying to show our absolute outrage and horror of what is happening to the people of Gaza. Nick.
Thank you very much, Sophie. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
All right, thanks everyone. As Sophie mentioned, this is, I think, our 16th or 17th weekend rally in 20 weeks. There have also been in that time 3 community pickets of the Israeli ship Zim ship, also protests outside the US Embassy in the city. And it's good to see that people are continuing to come out week after week, even on a hot day such as this. Well, we're here today to take a stand for justice, a stand for freedom, and a stand to demand the immediate end of Israel's genocidal war on Palestine. I checked the statistics this morning, and tragically, there are now 27,947, or perhaps even 28,000 by the time I read this, Palestinians in Gaza who have been killed, another 67,459 wounded since October 7. More than 2 million now have been made homeless, crammed into Rafah. And we're going to hear more about this through this afternoon, through the speeches, about what's going on, why this is happening, and what we need to do about it. But firstly, I just want to point to the Friends of Palestine stall, which is over there under the blue marquee. There'll be some people with buckets, so please donate generously to contribute to our campaign. We have some great merchandise and information on that stall. There are also some placards around that you can scan the QR code, both for our signing up for our emergency announcements, but also some placards somewhere that people can wave about the campaign by BDS Australia to put pressure on superannuation schemes to divest from Israel. But we're going to hear more about that. First up, I want to introduce Shirin Atamimi. Shirin is an Arab-Indonesian singer who performed on Australian Idol. She's a strong advocate for Palestine and will be performing the Palestinian national anthem, Fida'i. So please make Shirin welcome. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming out today. Just a disclaimer before I start singing, I don't speak Arabic, so please, just don't mind any mispronunciations of the national anthem, and I'm using lyrics. Cool. Yeah.
Ceasefire! When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Ceasefire!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we actually have some terrible news that a lot of us woke up to this morning, and if you haven't seen it already, it's the fact that the Netanyahu War Cabinet has announced that they're preparing for a ground invasion of Rafah. Shame! Now Netanyahu says he's ordered the Israeli military to develop a plan to evacuate civilians from Rafah, the last neighbourhood, the last town in the Gaza Strip where Palestinians have sought refuge. Shame. There has to be a point where President Biden tells Netanyahu no, where there has to be a red line. We've seen reactions this morning to this terrible news. Every UN agency, Médecins Sans Frontières, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty, Norwegian Refugee Council, everybody says that a ground invasion of Rafah would be absolutely catastrophic. It can't happen. We can't let it happen. We're calling on the Australian government, Mr. Albanese, Senator Wong, summons the Israeli ambassador, tell him that you will not stand for this, that under no circumstance can there be a ground invasion of what is now a massive refugee camp. Shame. Shame. What do we want? Ceasefire. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Ceasefire. When do we want it? Now. Now it's a real honour to introduce our next speaker, a proud Freo local, Dr. Carmen Lawrence. During a 21-year political career, Dr. Lawrence served as our first female Premier. She was the member here in Fremantle in our federal seat from 94 to 07 and also served as the National President of the ALP. Carmen is also a former President of the Conservation Council of Western Australia. She's a strong advocate for no new fossil fuels, and we always appreciate her standing up to Woodside. A courageous Freo local who always speaks out. Thank you, Carmen, for being here today.
And people of goodwill around the world in calling for an immediate ceasefire. As we've heard, nearly 28,000 Palestinians have already been killed in Gaza since the 7th of October, mostly women and children. Many thousands more, as you know, are buried in the rubble. Swathes of Gaza have been destroyed, and 1.9 million of its 2.3 million people have been displaced and now pushed right to the edge. For many, the images of death and destruction are unbearable. Imagine how it must be for the people living under continuous bombardment, staring death in the face every day. As Nazreen Malik reminded us in The Guardian this week, women and children have borne the brunt of this war. She goes on to say, the details are unfathomable. There are about 50,000 pregnant women in Gaza, and 40% of these pregnancies have been classed as high risk. 180 women give birth daily. The healthcare structure, on the other hand, has been obliterated. According to Charity Care, there's no doctor, midwife or nurse to support women during labour. There's no pain medication, anaesthesia or hygiene material when women give birth. Babies are born on the ground in the wilderness, umbilical cords cut with whatever sharp object is to hand, and tins filled with hot water to keep the newborn warm. C-sections, painful in the aftermath, even where drugs are plentiful, are being performed without any anaesthesia at all, by surgeons who do not have any water to wash their hands, let alone sterilise them, and no antibiotics for any resulting infections. This is the most extraordinary set of circumstances. And as I said, people of goodwill everywhere, including many Jewish people, many Israelis, abhor the disproportionate violence Israel has unleashed on the Palestinian people in Gaza. Despite what appears to be an international consensus, repeatedly expressed through the United Nations and its agencies, who, as one commentator puts it, are running out of adjectives to describe the horrors in Gaza and are reduced to desperate pleading. Despite that consensus, there's still no action, which is why your voices are so important. Leaders on both sides seem indifferent to the monstrous suffering of the people of Gaza. In reality, this wanton bloodshed can only result in more death and devastation, and the threats to security will remain into the future. The daily killing of civilians will inevitably multiply in the ranks of those angry enough to become militants. The combatants appear to be united by the belief that the killing of innocent people is justified to achieve what the killers believe is a desirable end. As the Nigerian poet Wole Soyinka put it, they live by the motto, "I'm right, you're dead." You have no doubt heard arguments that the terrorists have deliberately killed innocent people, while those who are responding to eliminate Hamas kill civilians by accident. They're not the intended targets. They're unavoidable collateral damage. It's only possible to hold these views by counting some people as more worthy of compassion than others, a totally unacceptable premise. War is by its nature unfocused, indiscriminate, and especially now that the technology is so murderous, inevitably involves the deaths of a very large number of people. It's obvious too that those who rush to war are rarely those who risk having their heads blown off. Dropping bombs is simple, if grotesque. Getting at the roots of conflict and extremism in all its forms is complicated and hard work and requires us to go beyond the playground platitudes of good and evil. As one young Israeli put it in supporting a two-state solution, the only way that we can live in a just, equal and democratic society is through peace, the end of occupation, eviction of the settlers from the West Bank, and the right of return of Palestinian refugees around the world. The only way forward is together. Echoing the calls of the people of Gaza, another man whose parents were killed in the October 7 attack says he realised that peace is the only thing that can bring security to everyone living between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. An immediate ceasefire, a credible, internationally supported peace plan, and a clear timetable for the creation of a Palestinian state are critical to stop the long scream of rage and pain. Thank you.
Thank you. We invited today to speak at this rally the Fremantle Mayor, Hannah Fitzharding, and we also invited the Fremantle Labor member for Fremantle, Josh Wilson, to speak today. Both declined, indicating that they had other engagements. However, I do want to mention that Josh Wilson gave a speech in Parliament 2 days ago, and I think that the fact that he gave this speech at all is a reflection of the pressure that we're bringing to bear on politicians and Labor politicians in particular around Australia as a result of your efforts coming out week after week after week to demand a free Palestine. I want to welcome our next speaker, Reverend Gemma Basley. Gemma arrived here from the UK in September 2021 and has since served as priest in charge of St Paul's Anglican Church in Beaconsfield. And Gemma's also going to tell us about an important pilgrimage taking place in a couple of weeks on the 24th of February. So please make Gemma welcome.
Thank you. Gosh, it's so loud. Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. Thank you, Carmen and Sophie and Nick. So I'm Reverend Gemma. I'm an Anglican priest, and I am unashamedly in love with a Palestinian Jew who 2,000 or more years ago lived this radical message of love and peace for all people. Love your enemies, he said. And always, he focused first and foremost on the marginalised and the oppressed and the displaced and the forgotten. And he called out injustice. And when he went and stood and looked across Jerusalem and the West Bank, he wept. Actually, the scriptures say he sobbed uncontrollably. And I think he's still doing that, especially now, especially today. And since the events of the 7th of October, there have been a number of memes on social media that say things like, if you ever wondered what you would have done in the face of slavery or apartheid or the Holocaust, you're doing it now. And we are here doing this now to say that this is not okay, that on our watch, we won't stand by and let genocide happen. We're here to protest a world where humans can block or withhold life's basic provisions. And we're here to stand up for those who need aid and shelter and water and medicine, and to say it's not acceptable to force a whole community of people into the safety of Rafah and then to corral them there and turn on them. It's not okay, and we won't stand by, and we won't let it happen on our watch. Friends, there are no words. Standing and watching and weeping and sobbing uncontrollably is a valid response. It's understandable. And showing up here to do so together in solidarity with those who are opposed to genocide and in favour of peace and justice. To stand here together in solidarity with those whose lives depend on a ceasefire, who need aid and food and water. To stand here and decry the actions of Hamas, in favour of those who need somewhere to live and somewhere to call their home.
I'm sure we'll just gain in confidence as we go along. I see 1,000 words in the window of a train as it passes me by, each one plugged into an orbit, their own pain, their own lullaby. Isn't it wild to be sharing this moment, the same very thimble of time? Isn't it wild that we each hold an ocean, yet fail to fathom other tides? Alright.
Everyone, before I begin, I just want to acknowledge that we're on Aboriginal land right now. We're all gathering today at Aboriginal land. Always was. Always will be. I've got no words left to say as a Palestinian, so today I'm going to read you a poem by Rafif Ziada, which the first time I heard this poem I was 11 years old, and at 25 it still sticks with me. Allow me to speak my Arab tongue before they occupy my language as well. Allow me to speak my mother tongue before they colonise her memory as well. I am an Arab woman of colour, and we come in all shades of anger. All my grandfather ever wanted to do was wake up at dawn and watch my grandmother kneel and pray in a village between Yafa and Haifa. My mother was born under an olive tree on a soil that they say is no longer mine. But I will cross their barriers, their checkpoints, their damn apartheid walls and return to my homeland. I am an Arab woman of colour, and we come in all shades of anger. And did you hear my sister screaming yesterday as she gave birth at a checkpoint, with Israeli soldiers looking between her legs for their next demographic threat. They called her baby girl Janine. And did you hear Amni Munna screaming behind their prison bars as they tear-gassed her cell while she screams, "We're returning to Palestine"? I am an Arab woman of colour and we come in all shades of anger. But you tell me that this room inside of me only brings you your next terrorist? Beard-wearing, gun-waving, towel-head. You tell me I send my children out to die? But those are your copters and your F-16s in our skies. I am an Arab woman of colour and we come in all shades of anger. So who is that brown woman screaming in the demonstration? Sorry, should I not scream? I forgot to be your Orientalist dream. Genie in a body, belly dancer, harem girl, soft-spoken Arab woman. Yes, master. No, master. Thank you for the peanut butter sandwiches raining down from your F-16s, master. Yes, my liberators are here to kill my children and call them collateral damage. I am an Arab woman of colour, and this woman inside of me will only bring you your next rebel. She will have a rock in one hand and a Palestinian flag in the other. I am an Arab woman of colour, and beware of my anger. Thank you.